Hello and welcome to Ask Amanda Now. We are going out to the Your Strata Property Facebook page. We're also heading out to LinkedIn and to YouTube. Ask Amanda Now is our short 10 minutes, hopefully, segment where I can answer one strata question for you. Now, if you are tuning on in live, you may be noticing that I'm in a place that I haven't broadcast live from before, and that is the back of an Uber. And my Uber driver here, Scott, is giving me a wave. He has very kindly given me his permission to broadcast Ask Amanda Now from the back of his Uber. We are making excellent time on the way to Sunshine Coast Airport. I have spent the last couple of days in Noosa. I have been lucky enough to be in that wonderful part of our country. I have been attending my business mastermind. I am part of a mastermind group where we catch up quarterly and spend a couple of days planning the next big thing for our businesses. We are a cohort of women, all with different businesses, from fashion to medical to professional speakers to software providers. I am the only lawyer in the group, but it is a catch up that I very much look forward to and always come out of it with lots of new ideas. A lot of those ideas I bring here to you to share with you and to continue to deliver this information, this education to you in the best way I can. Now, I can see a few of you coming on in live. Feel free to drop me a hello. This is, I will say, this is not a Friday live, so we won't be here for too long. I'm watching that timing on our Uber app here as our driver gets us closer to the airport. I think I've got about 10 minutes before I'll have to jump out and check on into my flight. I am heading down to Melbourne this evening, and those of you who know me well know that is not home. That is not where I live. No, I'm heading down to Melbourne because I have some client work tomorrow. And I might be back here on the page. I might share a little bit about that adventure tomorrow, if you like. I will be in Melbourne for the morning, and then I will be traveling up to Moama. So it is a New South Wales client. I haven't suddenly jumped into the Victorian Strata Owners Corporation market. So the best way to get to Moama from the Sunshine Coast was to fly to Melbourne and then make my way to Moama. I'm doing that in a rather interesting way. So I might share that with you tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon when my client work is done. Kylie is here giving me a wave, saying hi. Nice to see you, Kylie. It is an Ask Amanda Now. I have a couple of questions that I will be answering for you, and I've chosen two because they are similar. They are questions about strata managers in Queensland. We call them body corporate managers. That's where I am right now in Queensland. In Victoria, owners corporation managers. And each of our questions relates to the role of the strata manager, I'm going to call them. So that's why I've chosen two for today. And we might roll right on in. Our first question comes from Car, and we have Rochelle has the question here ready to go for us. She's going to pop it up on the screen. The question from Car is this: our strata committee would like to discuss options for not renewing the management agreement next year. Can the strata committee have a meeting without the strata manager present? And bear in mind, says Car, the strata manager is delegated to run the meeting. Great question from Car. It's one that I have certainly come across before, where we have given our strata managers delegated authority under their agency agreement to act in the role of chair. Can we chair our own meetings and say to that strata manager, no thanks, don't need you? Or can we, partway through the meeting, decide that what we're discussing is confidential or is sensitive, and we don't want the manager to be present for that discussion, and invite the manager to leave the meeting just for that particular motion? Well, number one, even if you have delegated the role of chair to the strata manager, it doesn't mean that the actual chairperson, as elected by the owners corporation, can't act in the position of chair. The actual chair can indeed chair the meeting, even if the strata manager is there, and even if the strata manager has the chairperson role delegated under their agency agreement. You can still exercise, the chairperson who's been elected by the owners can still exercise their function as chair. So that's an important one to remember. And yes, if a motion is on the agenda, and whether it's a strata committee discussing the option, the upcoming opportunity to renew a contract or consider tendering a contract, if that discussion is more comfortably, more openly, perhaps more properly had in the absence of the strata manager, then yes, the committee can, and I suggest should, invite the strata manager to leave the meeting for a short period if you're online, for the strata manager to exit that Zoom meeting and then come back in 10 minutes or so when that discussion has been had. I see that happen quite smoothly often. I do hear, sadly, from some clients and some members inside our community that even though that invitation may be issued, there is some pushback from managers about that. I don't think that's right. I think managers, if they are asked to leave a meeting, I think they should leave that meeting so that conversation can happen. And sometimes we hear managers say, well, I'm the chair of the meeting, so I have to be here. I have to be here while the meeting's running. I can't leave the meeting. I would invite managers who take that view to rethink that and consider that their client is entitled to the time and the space to have a confidential discussion about their choices moving forward. And that discussion doesn't need to have a chair present. There can be a discussion and a decision made, and then the strata manager can come back into the meeting to minute or record the resolution or the decision that has been made about that issue. So I think it's very helpful if you have delegated the responsibility for chairing to your strata manager, that they are there, they are experienced, they are professional, they understand how to chair meetings. That's really helpful. But indeed, if the actual chairperson, the owner perhaps, who's been elected as chair by the owners corporation, wants to take over that role, they are entitled to do so. And the strata manager should step aside and allow for that to happen, especially if those sensitive conversations are going to be happening in the meeting. Cheryl is here saying, hi Cheryl, I see you there. If you're just coming in, and I can see a lot of you have come in, we did start a couple of minutes early because I am in an Uber on the way to Sunshine Coast Airport, and we're going to be arriving very shortly, and I wanted to make sure that we could get through these couple of very good questions before I have to jump out of the car here and check in for my flight to Melbourne, of all places, on a Friday night. That's where I'm heading next. Now, I said we had two questions for Ask Amanda Now today. They are related. Our second question comes from John. And Rochelle has the question here ready for us on the screen. John asks, can the committee appoint a new strata manager without a general meeting being called? The former company resigned. I've had this question a couple of times in the last few weeks, so a good one to be discussing here on Ask Amanda Now. The short answer, John, is in New South Wales, our strata managers must be appointed by the general meeting. So a strata committee cannot appoint a strata manager. Even if it's a situation of urgency, the strata manager has just resigned, you've been left without anybody there to manage, well, you need to convene a general meeting ASAP to appoint a new manager. And that's set out in Section 49 of our Strata Schemes Management Act. Rochelle has a link here for you. Section 49 says that strata managers in New South Wales are appointed by instrument. That's a document approved by resolution at a general meeting of the owners corporation. So committees can't appoint strata managers. I'm not sure if it was here on the page or it might have been inside our members Q&A forum where I was asked that. I think maybe a committee was attempting to appoint a strata manager. That's a no-no. That will not be a valid appointment if a committee was to pass a resolution and attempt to sign an agency agreement without that ordinary resolution at a general meeting. Michelle is telling me, be prepared for a change in the weather. Yes, well, my very kind Uber driver, Scott, has already warned me about that. He said, no, Melbourne ain't like Noosa, Amanda. It's going to be a little bit different down there. Hope you brought clothes for a different climate, says Michelle. Yes, I have a jam-packed suitcase, prepared for all events, hopefully. Yes, so our 2 questions today, thank you, Car, and thank you, John. Our questions specific to the role of strata managers. I think there may be a broader conversation to be had about the role of our strata managers with our owners corporations and our committees. I've been hearing from a few different angles, let's say, here on the page, from clients, from members, about some practices that are going on with our strata managers where they are taking a role that is quite interventionist, let's say, quite interventionist, and perhaps forgetting that they are the agent and the owner's corporation is the principal. I've heard from a couple of colleagues in the space, including lawyers who are assisting clients at the moment, that there have been some strata managers who have told committees that they are not to have any office bearers, and they don't need any office bearers because the strata manager takes on all of those roles. So when I say office bearers, I mean chair, secretary, and treasurer. I'm concerned. I'm concerned when I hear that that might be happening, and I think there are some communities out there who are feeling a little bit powerless, perhaps, when they find themselves in that situation. It is a conversation that I think needs to be had, perhaps on the podcast, perhaps on a Friday Live, when we've got a little bit more time to dig in and explore what might be going on there for some communities with some strata managers, certainly not all, that's for sure. All right, Car is here. I'm so glad you're able to tune in, Car, and thanks for asking that question. Car is saying, thanks, Amanda. Can the committee actually have the meeting without inviting the strata manager? Yes, you can, Car. Yes, you can. And I hope my comment there about the manager being an agent. They are an agent and they follow your instructions. You, the owner's corporation, are the principal and the manager is the agent. They act on your instructions. So if you tell them, no, thank you, we don't need you at the meeting, then they shouldn't be at the meeting. Alrighty, now we are coming in very soon to the Sunshine Coast Airport, where I'm jumping on a plane to head to Melbourne. I'm so pleased that I was able to drop by and have this chat and answer those couple of questions. If you're catching the replay and you have any follow-up questions there that I can help you with, please do post them below. Or if you just want to say hello, Amanda, then I'd love to see you and say hello. You might see me here on the page tomorrow. As I said, bit of an adventure coming up for me the next 24 hours as I head down to Victoria, only to find my way back up to the border to attend an AGM. I'm attending an AGM for a client who is in Moama. So a little bit of back and forth, and I will be back home in my home in Mudgee on Sunday afternoon. Just getting the sunset here in my eyes. I will let you guys go out into your weekend in Strata. Please do spend it well. Look after yourself and each other, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.